surprisingly, a lot less philanthropic money is intentionally going to benefit underserved and marginalized communities than you would think. The average person just thinks, oh, of course, philanthropy, that's about helping the poor. But in fact, it's a pretty small percentage of philanthropic dollars. About 1 out of every $3 is intended or can be coded as intended to benefit underserved or marginalized communities. And that's a very broad definition. That can be low-income communities, communities of color, women and girls, LGBT communities, people with disabilities, the elderly. I mean, it's really like a very broad definition. And even when you use that, it's a small percentage of philanthropic dollars. We try to challenge and inspire and provoke good conversations in philanthropy. We're known as the watchdog of the philanthropic sector. Before I took over 11 years ago, we were known as the critic of philanthropy. You know, there's a slight twist on that. It's more of a critical friend to philanthropy, pushing and challenging the sector. So we produce original research that says, you know what, you're not doing as well as you think you are. And people will sometimes get shocked by the data that we put forward. But also trying to sort of organize conversations behind the scenes between maybe a funder who's doing it well and one who could really learn from them. And we try to put people together so that they can move forward. There's a lot of unjustified fear on the part of some foundations that, you know, what's it going to do to our reputation if we fund these kinds of groups? Oh, I'm cozy with the mayor or the school board or whatever, and if we fund, you know, the grassroots groups, I could get in, those relationships could get in trouble. So those are some of the barriers that we see. But look, the reason to do it is absolutely clear. If you're a donor and you're serious about making a difference on the issues, you've got to be involved in changing systems, changing public policy, and influencing that. Government spending dwarfs philanthropic spending on every single issue. In education alone, it's like over 3,000 to 1. And education is the most popular thing that foundations and high net worth donors fund. Huge amounts of philanthropic money going into that. Even in spite of all the philanthropic money going into education, if you add up the public spending, it's 3,000 to 1. So you can't possibly have influence on all these issues if you're not changing or influencing government policy. That's the reason to do it. You want to leverage your limited dollars to make the most difference possible. And I think a lot of foundation folks learn this and realize this as they gain some experience over time. It's not hyperbole to say that our democracy is under siege right now. The current occupant of the White House is really attacking huge swaths of our population. He's attacking immigrants, women, African Americans, and, you know, dividing our nation. And philanthropy has an obligation to step forward and fund the resistance and be part of moving money to groups that can stand up for fairness and equality and really build the people power necessary to ensure that our country doesn't go down the road to fascism.